Why, hello, ladies and gentlemen, Starcaster here. I wanted to record a video today about trees. Trees. I have so many trees, and I've learned a lot about how to build them, the process behind it, and what it takes to be efficient and, make your world a little more lively and vibrant of a place. So here we go. I have been at it for a few months now on my survival world. I'm in a creative copy of that world. I wanted to speak about the process, the overarching themes, and how to be efficient with your tree building. Now, for starters, we want to look at our trees. We want to look at our environment. We want to take a look around and figure out where they go, what they are, how many we're going to need, and what materials we're going to need in order to build the trees. So, for starters, if you have a massive project like this and you have to do trees for a long time, I recommend go out, spend a day gathering your materials. Go get all the leaves, all the logs, all the small materials you'll need, fence posts. Get everything gathered, stuff everything in a bunch of shulker boxes, and get everything together and gathered. That brings me to the next point, which is simply figure out what your tree's going to look like. Everybody's got a different look for a tree, what type of tree it is, whether it's a red tree or a yellow tree or an oak tree with vines. So go out, gather your materials. We got to take a look at what our tree is going to look like and how it's going to come together. So I guess we'll just get started. I wanted to build another one of these guys here, but the first thing we want to do is, as I said, gather your materials, put a pallet together. So we'll go through and kind of get our design in our head. Maybe build a couple of these for practice in a creative world. Never a bad idea. And when you do that, you'll kind of start to get a process down. And that's really what I wanted to speak on today. I've gotten relatively efficient with the process of doing this over the course of the last few months of doing this. So really what I wanted to speak on, I'm not the greatest tree builder in the world. I'm pretty okay. I got a lot of practice now. But really the trick is how to do it and do it efficiently, especially when you have a huge project that's going to take you a long time to do. Now, I like to start with just the foundation of the tree, just the look of the tree. So here's a birch tree that I have put together. I haven't put any leaves on it yet, but I start with how big is it going to be, how tall does it need to be, and then I put a pallet together. And then I kind of design a tree shape. Now we got to take a look at the way a tree is shaped for starters, right? So a birch tree is relatively spindly. It's got a lot of these little branches that sprawl out and spread all over the place. They're not very tall. There's also a lot of color in them, so you could do something like that and get yourself a yellow look for fall, or you could just use regular green leaves. Now, I like to start with the foundation. So let's start there. The first thing I want to do is find a place for my tree. I guess I'm going to do one right here. Let's build one of these big guys. He's kind of more of an oak or an elm kind of style. So again, I went and researched everything and took a look and figured out, well, what's it going to look like? How big is it going to be? So let's start with just a foundation. These are a little larger than your average tree around here, so I've been kind of doing something like this. This one I got a lot of space to work with, so I'm going to make it kind of wide and tall. So we'll go with, just start with some basalt. As you see, I picked my palette already, but I got some basalt, I got some acacia, I got some pale oak, and then tuff for branches. And then we'll talk about leaves in a little while once I get this structure built up. So we'll start with just nothing too big. I don't want to go too crazy here. I got work to do, right? Got other things to do. There we go. Cool. Do something like that. Now, I don't always love to have sideways logs on trees, so I'll kind of get rid of that and just start with a little tuff there instead, I think. Yeah, it gives you a good look. And I like to branch it off. Now, trees tend to spiral a little bit. If you ever look at the organic shape of, like, say, a seashell, it's the same concept. Everything kind of flails out in this way such that when it grows a branch, it just kind of automatically goes into a position where each of the leaves will catch the maximum amount of sunshine. So when you think of it like that, you can kind of automatically just kind of see that spiral shape, see that the way that things organically grow. And that'll certainly help in the overall look of your finished product. Now, I'm getting close here on this. Actually, I got to start moving over to some acacia. Now, I do different wood styles to give myself a little bit of a gradient on the way up. When we do that, it really makes things pop. It gives lights and shadows, darks and lights, and depth and texture. Depth and texture is everything in this game. Otherwise, you will be building, and it's going to look like a big square and not have any life or color to it. Shadows come to life in this game when you intentionally place blocks to give that shadow. Okay, that's pretty okay. Nothing crazy. I could continue on to this, but I'm gonna go quick and kind of get this over with so we can see how the process finishes out. Now I like to start to add some branches. Bam, bam, bam. The lower branches I like to have settle down a little bit, so they sweep down and they flail out and flare out. I mean, so that they really give body to the lower end of a build. Okay, and then we'll go bang, bang, bang. A couple more here. This one can go up a little bit. Again, notice how I'm kind of separating. These are on like a 90 degree from each other, but say 90 to 120 degrees for the branches, and then spread them up and build them up as you go in that kind of spiral pattern. And you'll get a really good result without much effort and thinking. As anything, when you get efficient at it, it becomes process driven, right? So trust the process. Don't overthink it. You can always change things later. But this is a process in which I think you can get really close to having a really good finished product without too much effort and thought. And like I said, when you have to do 150 of these trees, it makes a big difference that you can do it quickly. And then you can always circle back. And if you get 95% of the way there just following a process, you're going to be in really good shape. And that's kind of why I wanted to make this video, to show that it's not all about what you're designing. And the end, that's obviously the results. But the process in which you do this will give you better results faster if you follow kind of this guide or other. There's a million wonderful YouTube content creators that do this for a living. I'm not one of them, but I do play a heck of a lot of Minecraft, so I do have enough experience. I think that it's a valid point for me to show you guys something. Okay, let's get on to leaves. So I like to cover the lowest level with a dark leaf. Now I chose these leaves because there's a gradient here. Again, we're going from light to dark. We're going to go from, dark to light. We're going to go from the bottom to top. And so that's my three different leaves that I'm going to use for this specific tree. Now, I like to kind of start with just covering, with the darkest leaf, of course, start just covering the lower end of my branch, right? Just cover that, and then I'll cover like the first layer, right? That's pretty close. Yep. And same thing here. Again, this is process driven. I'm not even looking. I'm just going for it, which there's a point to be made in Minecraft, especially when you're doing something new or when you get stuck on something, to just grab some blocks and go for it. That way, if you don't like the results, it'll take you half as much time to take down as it did to put up usually, unless you're building out of obsidian. There we go. Yep, same thing. There's a little gap here in the middle of the tree, so I'm going to give a little extra body. Flare that out a touch. Same thing here. Yeah, we're going to need a little extra body on this one too. So yeah, cover that first row. Cover the bottom. Sometimes you can leave a little bit exposed. If it's kind of a thin tree, or you're going for a little more eerie of a vibe, a little more fall of a vibe, you can leave some of this understructure exposed. It'll give you a little bit of a cool kind of forlorn tree look, or a little even more natural look. With this build, however, I'm going for a very curated look for the trees. This is designed after Bolt Castle in the Thousand Islands, and it's really a beautiful, beautiful building. But all the grounds in this place are super well maintained and curated. So that's kind of what I'm going for. Now, your results or process may have to vary a little bit if you decide that this process for putting trees together isn't working for the style of tree that you want. Now, if you would like a different result, that's simple. There's only one way to get to Carnegie Hall, guys. Practice, practice, practice. So take it into a creative world. Get grinding. Make a few samples. Figure out what process works for you, and then dial it in. It just takes time, just like anything in this game. This game is a very long and epic grind, but again, when you're results oriented, things can become much more efficient for you. Again, this is process driven, so I'm not even looking at the results yet. That's my last step. So I'm taking the second layer of trees here. Let me get nighttime gone here. There we go. There we go. Daytime. That's helpful. Where was I? Yeah, the process. It's all about the process. Get started. Keep going. Don't stop till you're finished. And again, that's another reason that it's so important to have all your materials in place. If you don't and you circle back, you're going to lose your rhythm, and nobody wants that. So when you get into a rhythm, when you get into a vibe, turn on an audiobook, turn on a podcast, YouTube video, whatever, get going. And then the next thing you know, you've popped up 4 or 5 trees in an hour. Get your scaffolding. I'm a scaffolding guy, not a dirt guy, but however you need to get up to the top of your trees and get to a place where, you can build comfortably. The happy gas is another good tool for this because it's pretty slow work. I've tried it. I'm not very good with it yet. It's a cool concept, though. I really wish the happy gas was a little quicker, though. It's a little bit slow for my taste. I'm kind of a mover and a shaker. All right. So I'm getting to the point where I'm going to start taking some steps back here and building out the floof of the tree, right? So we're going to build out the body again. And I like to kind of go one layer out at a time with my second shade, right? Again, it'll look more natural that way. Just as the tree goes from dark to light, from shadow to light, you'll start to see it kind of come together. Yeah, and this one needs to floof out a little more. There we go. Don't be afraid to just place blocks. You can, I always keep a hoe in my inventory such that I can easily break leaves. A hoe with silk touch. So you can break leaves, kind of start over. And that's how I get all my leaves, too. I'll go to whatever biome I'm looking for, grab a couple of hoes, and and go get it. Go get my leaves. Okay, it's coming together. Now, I think now it's time to step back, right? I got my first 2 layers in, kind of see how the body of it looks, see where I need to thicken things up. That's pretty okay. And now I got to add the top to it. I think I'm going to build out a little more here, maybe a little bit more here. This is all subjective too. Trust your eye. Trust the framing of what you're looking at as well, right? So this is a tree that's going to be in the middle of this area, so it's actually pretty open and exposed tree. I think we're gonna build it out a little more. I think we got to give this a little more. There we go. Moss leaves. Cool. All right. Yeah. All right. We'll start with that. That one looks better already. Now this is definitely too small. Yeah, so just make loops. This is where I'll have scaffolding all around this thing. And it really helps the process to be able to quickly move around You know, if you got a Elytra, give it a quick flyby. But again, I'm not wasting a lot of time running around and looking at it. I'm doing it at relatively specific points in the process of assembling this tree. That way I kind of stick to the plan, keep moving, keep placing blocks, remaining efficient, because again, life's too short to waste time when you can do something in a way that is just efficient. It makes everything easier. And again, I can get 95% of this tree done in, you'll see how long this takes, maybe 20 minutes in survival mode. And then I get to circle back and take a look and figure out, okay, what's missing? What do I need? And at this point, I've only stepped back and taken a look at the tree like twice. Okay, so yeah, let's circle back. Now, one thing that I do that you obviously don't have to do, I'll look at the sun. This is west to east this way, right? So I like to accentuate the west to east side a little bit, especially now that we're here in Bedrock doing vibrant visuals. It really helps the tree pop. So I'll give a little more of that light color to the east-west side of these trees. It's again this really simple, subtle detail you would likely never notice, but I do because I built it. Duh. So yeah, step one. We'll review the process. Step one, get your blocks together. Step two, research. Get on Google, find some trees that you like that you're trying to emulate. Now, you can't always make it look exactly like what you want it to look, but you can use your imagination, which is the whole point of this game, to get it to a place where, like, you took your inspiration, you put it into your tree, and you feel relatively comfortable with the output. Step three, practice. Practice. Take it to a creative world, build a couple of samples, see if it's what you're looking for. You can even throw it into a structure block and go into your world that you're trying to build it in and copy a few trees and see if the whole palette works together and if that's what you're looking for in the grand scheme of things. After that, I like to build the frame of the tree in whatever blocks you have chosen. Look around and then imagine how the leaves are going to look on that tree from that point, right? Where your gaps are going to be. See, now I got a big gap right here. It kind of works, but I think I could do a little better. So now I'm at the point where I'm going to start doing some fine tuning. I placed most of my top blocks, most of my middle blocks, and like I said, without having to look at it too much, I'm 95% of the way there. I got to give some body here, maybe a little bit something in here. So let's maybe a little bit of extra love in here. And just kind of take the process. And I don't even really think I need these, but why not? Yeah, just a few. Again, we're going to flank the branch with our darkest color. And then we're going to increase the tone. Build it out one usually. One-ish, depending on how much room you have in your constraints. Fill that in. And then we're going to top it with our brightest block. That I don't need. Make a couple of corrections. I'm okay with that, and that fills that out a little bit. Right here is looking a little vacant, so we'll do the same thing. We'll just add a couple of leaves and a little bit of structure and body and depth and texture. And then strategically move around and find where the picture that you had in your head, right? Where you can bring that to life. And then, define the process. It's something like this is a process-driven deal. There's too many trees for me to sit here and labor and hoo and haw over every single tree that I have to build. There's too many. And again, you don't look at the individual tree. You look at the conglomerate of trees. You look at the forest, right? And we're getting close here. I think I've built a lot of really cool trees. It's really starting to come together. So there you go. If you have any questions or comments, feel free. This is my first YouTube video in quite some time, but I wanted to share a little bit of my thoughts on the process that I've come up with over the last few months, what I'm doing objectively, and how it's coming together. As you can see, this is my forever world, and I've been here for about 5 years now, and I finally, after all that time, have started to go back, and I'm going to do this whole landscaping thing, which doesn't seem like a lot. You know, it's 350 by 250 blocks, but it is. And you know how it is when you take on a project that's too big for you to chew on. But, you know, you got to do what you got to do. I decided I wanted to finish this, and I'm going to finish it. So this is part of the process. All right, well, thanks, everybody, for watching. I really appreciate your time. I hope you learned something. If you have anything to say, drop a line in the comments. You can do that whole like and subscribe thing if you like. That'd be sweet. I'm not making any money on this. I'm not really a YouTuber. I just wanted to share my thoughts, and hopefully this helps somebody. So I hope you guys take care. Thanks. Bye.